After finishing high school and experiencing a few years of the adulthood, there's many things that I've learned and realized that I wish somebody would have told and explained to me while I was in school and even now. First and foremost, if you just graduated high school, congratulations. Welcome to the real world, and nobody's coming to save you. There will be people that will help you, and it is very important for you to network and meet people that will help you get to the places you want to be and be in the mindset that you want to be in. But you have to do it all yourself. You know, it's just, it is what it is. And if you haven't graduated school yet, it is very important for you to listen to these things and also remember that you are in a good spot. You have time, more time than most people. Now, I'm not saying you're not busy, but you still do have advantages that other people don't have. And prepare, the real world is coming for you too. But, anyways, one of the things that I wish somebody would have really put emphasis, um, on or emphasized to me is that our time is very precious. It is valuable. It is the most valuable thing we have. It's the only thing we don't get back. The most valuable thing we have is a finite resource. You can get money back, you can get food back, you can get clothes back. You can't get time back. So it is important for you to utilize that time to your best ability. When I was in high school, and I figured out what I wanted to do. I just researched everything about what I wanted to do my last year of high school. I barely did any work. Now, granted, it was pretty easy, and I would just get done with my stuff, but any little free time I had, I was studying what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a content creator because my junior year of high school, I hurt my leg, and I was injured, and I eventually stopped playing football because of that. So that threw me into a spell, and I had to figure out what it was that I really wanted to do. So to mix those points, you want to find who you are and utilize your time finding who you are so you can find out what you want to do. And if you kind of feel lost right now, no matter what part of your life you're in, you need to try more things. It's like, how do you know it's your favorite food if you only ate chicken fingers? Like, start trying things. My life, became drastically better when I stopped getting chicken fingers at every restaurant. And shout out to chicken fingers for always holding it down. But it's the same thing with life. If you continue to do the same things and you continue to hang around the same people and think from the same places, you're going to get the same results. So if you want something different in your life, try more things and find out who you are. A lot of the times we have issues with breaking free of the narratives that have been placed on us by our parents or our friends or the people that we grew up around because we are living life through their eyes. It's like, oh, well, I do this because my mama said this, and I'm doing this because my dad taught me this, and those things are cool. You want to hold those morals and those values close, and you never want to let those things go. But eventually, you're gonna get to a point where you're like, I don't really agree with this, or this is not what I want to do. This is what my mom wants to do. And I really hated it for a lot of my classmates because I'm like, yo, what you doing? It's like, man, I gotta go to college. My mom is making me go to college. And, granted, they did have good intentions behind it, but it's like some people was trying to live their lives through their kids. Some people was trying to do things just to make their parents proud, and that's cool. But it also happened for me. Once I got hurt with football, I didn't want to go to school no more. Football was my escape from school. So why would I go to school to be stuck? And school was easy. But I told my teachers I didn't want to go. They was like, "What? Your mother's a teacher. Why don't you want to go to school?" I was like, "It's not what I want to do. I got other plans." So I dove into that and I told my mother, I was like, "I'm not going to college." She was like, "Well, what you gonna do?" And I gave her my blueprint and she said, "Okay, I believe in you." Well, my brothers and sisters, they tried to pull that same thing, but they didn't have the plan. So my mom was like, "Just go to school, get some education because, y'all don't really have it figured out." She didn't doubt your boy. You know what I'm saying? She didn't doubt them either, but they didn't have the material. So it's very important to find out what you want to do. And I have a little list here too, because I don't want to miss anything. But going back to taking advantage of all your opportunities. So a lot of people, when they're in high school, they don't want they don't want the car, the hand-me-down car. They don't want to work the job and all this and that. I'm telling you, if somebody gives you a vehicle, whether it's your mother's old Prius, use it and please do not be shamed. Use it till the wheels fall off of it. The amount of money you can save when someone gives you something and you don't have to pay for certain expenses is phenomenal. When I got my first job, I was able to save $12,000 before I graduated in under a year. And my mother gave me her old Camry. I spent money for gas once a week because I was working 5 minutes down the road from my house. I went nowhere. I didn't buy anything. I saved up every penny from my checks. The only thing I spent was my tips. I was working at a grocery store, but I was a kind man. So I got pretty good tips. I only spent my tips. My grandmother cooks every day. I would go cook to eat there, even if I didn't really want it. It was like, bro, I gotta save this money, you know. And then if I wanted something, I look at this jacket. I'm like, yeah, that's a cool jacket. If I want it the way I want it now in a week, I'll get it. When that week comes by, I done forgot about the jacket. So I'm taking advantage of my opportunity. Somebody gave me a car. You know, I wanted a sports car in high school, you know, and I saved up the money to be able to get that. But I was like, you know what? How about I just save my money for a rainy day? Maybe one day I might not want to go to work. And if I have this money saved up, I can do what I want to do. Maybe I want to buy a camera, which I wanted to. I saved up the money to do that. I saved up my money. I bought me a camera. I bought me a guitar. I bought me a keyboard. I bought a gaming chair. And now, you know, every time, you know, in my life after that point, when I was working a job, I had an ulterior motive. When I was doing something, I had an ulterior motive to get back to what I wanted to do. And that's what I did. So it's all about taking advantage of your opportunities and seeing where you can, you know, save that extra bit of cash. You can save that extra bit of energy. But people get so caught up in just moving too fast, and it just kind of ruins your life. Just stay down and handle what you can handle, and you're going to be all right. Now, the next one is enjoying your friends and making memories. As you grow up, you're gonna realize that a lot of your friends aren't really your friends. It's just people that you share common interests with and people that you know you went to school with, which is cool. You know what I'm saying? But the real friends is the ones that you don't talk to for 5 years and then you hit them up one day and nothing has changed. Those are your friends. And yeah, you're gonna, you know, you're gonna hang around some of your friends to the day you die. Y'all never skip a beat, but that's just the way it is when you're growing up. One of my best friends moved to Las Vegas from Louisiana after graduating, and then he moved to Texas. I didn't see him for like 2 years, and it took me to get to the place that I am to go take a trip to Texas for 2 weeks to see him, and that was one of the best things. But never skipped a beat. That's my guy. But you'll realize that your perception of friends will change as you grow older, and I think you know, especially if you haven't graduated yet, early on, really see what kind of people are around you and what they have to offer. Because if you are hanging around people and y'all are cool just because y'all do the same thing, but let's say, you know, you wanted to be a lawyer and you hanging around drug dealers just because they funny. Well, buddy, when they start to pull those transcripts and, you know, getting those background checks and you went to jail one time from hanging out with Tyrone, you you know what I'm saying? You might not be too hot. So you really got to think things into perspective and make decisions based on the way you want your future to be while staying in the present and enjoying it. But you know, don't rush things, make those memories and embrace those memories, because even though I didn't have the greatest experience with football, some of my best memories came from high school football, came from all the practices and the games and the traveling and just meeting people and you know becoming friends with people that you would never really meet outside of something. The camaraderie, like it's just so much that I learned from playing football, all the character building and a lot of the things that I've learned in life I can pull from football. And you know, a lot of the friends that I carry over from high school, you know, we built a bond even closer through football, going up there on the weekends and practicing and lifting weights. And it's just, you know, it's one of those things, man. And that draws me back to that point I made earlier about finding out who you are by trying things. If I could do it all over again, I would have played basketball, I would have played soccer. I did powerlifting, I did track, I did football. I hate baseball. um, I would have just did a lot more. And my senior year of high school, I started to hang around the less popular kids, and they had more substance than anybody. And it just makes you realize, especially you know, if you are kind of leaning to that notion of, you know, it's just certain things that matter more than other things. People usually prioritize that popularity junk. After high school, that junk don't matter. It don't matter in high school, but it's you know fixated on. But homecoming queen, bro, nobody cares. And it's sad there's still people to this day that hold on to those things. Like, oh, I was the homecoming queen in 2019. Okay, but can you work? What are you doing? You know what I'm saying? So it's just important for you to figure out what it is that matters to you in your life and develop some morals and just a good viewpoint of what's important to you, and just work on that on your in your day to day. Now, another one very crucial is you have to learn self control. In this world, in high school, no matter where you are, self-control is one of the most important things you need to learn, and one of the things that will boost your success rate or preserve your success. So, for example, like I mentioned earlier with the spending money thing, I first started making money. I'm like, ooh, I could spend this. And I was like, nah. I started working because I wanted a car. And then after working for so long and making, that money and saving, I'm like, well, man, I could really invest in myself. But at the time, I was like, I don't need no fancy equipment. I'm gonna use my phone. And then when I started using my phone outside to record my skits, the phone kept overheating. I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna start putting that extra money up for that camera. But like I said, I would see things that I want, and I was like, you know what? This is an impulse. If I want it in a week, I'll get it. I didn't want it, so I was developing that self control. Already, most people know how I overcame my addiction. And that helped me just move, more upright in the world. I seen people and I wasn't lusting over them, or I wasn't controlled by those thoughts. And yes, you still do have those thoughts and desires to blow money and establish bad habits. But after learning that self control, it just boosts your aura. Like you can move through life and not be phased by things. I can go out in a bar and there can be drinks everywhere. I'm not drinking because that's not who I am and that's not what I want to do. So finding out what's important to you and having that self-control to keep everything preserved is very important, especially when you start getting stuff, because I'm making much more than I've ever made in my life, and I have the opportunity to buy many things that I want, and I see many things that I want, but I'm not getting them because I have other plans in mind. Just a few weeks ago, I went to the guitar store to pick up a microphone, and I seen one of the most beautiful acoustic guitars. And I'm in the market for acoustic guitar right now because the acoustic guitar that I have it's like a traveler's guitar. The sound quality is not that good. It's just beautiful. But I need a, I need a big Bertha that's going to put that sound out there. And I have the funds for it. But I was like, you know what? I could either buy this guitar right now or just use the money I'm gonna spend on this guitar to just fund like my trip, like the gas, all the food. I could spend that instead of being, two times in the hole. And then I'm not bringing that guitar to Texas with me for 2 weeks to sit in my car, go up and down the hotel. The traveling guitar would be going with me, so it's like it just wasn't the right move. But I'm saying all that to say, I have bought a lot of guitars. I have bought a lot of stuff, but I'm always investing in myself. But even investing in yourself can get absurd when you're not really looking at, what you're doing. Like if you have $3,000 and you have rent due, it's not the smartest thing to go buy a $3,000 camera. Now, if you knew buying this $3,000 camera would get you 6,000 tomorrow, now hey, I ain't gonna never stop you from your grind and from your hustle. But you just always have to think through your decisions, and that's where the self-control element comes from. It's like, this is what I want to do, but what is going to come from this, right? Or this is something I don't want to do, and what's going to come from this? You always think through your decisions. It's not, I'm just walking through this door. It's not, I'm just buying a camera. It's no, I have rent due, and I'm buying a camera that's more than my rent, and I'm living paycheck to paycheck already. Don't do that. Don't do that. You have to put eggs in your basket, but you have to do what you have to do, and you have to take care of your responsibilities, man. But yeah, I mean, if you're in high school, I would listen to these things and see how you can incorporate them to your life. If you just graduated, you already there, so you've been through it, and it's just a lot you're gonna learn, man. Life is sweet. It's not as bad as people say. Life is what you make it, but it can be tough. There's gonna be days you be like, damn, I see what mom and dad was tripping about. It's gonna be days when you get off work and you just tired. You don't want to talk to nobody. You don't even want to eat sometimes. Sometimes all you want to do is eat. Sometimes all you want to do is just go lay down in the shower. So prepare for all those things, but embrace your youth, man. Because at this point in time, whether you first start in high school or whether you just ended, you're in your prime. Believe it or not, it may not feel like it, but you are in your prime. You can fall down and you can get back up and you can keep going and you can keep learning. You're young. But one little piece of advice I want to leave with you, no matter what it is that you want to do, no matter what it is, as long as you have control over your destiny, never quit. Because what I want to do, I'm finally doing it now. But I started in sixth grade. If I'd have kept doing what I wanted to do in sixth grade, I would have achieved those little dreams that I had of coming to high school with a Nissan GTR and revving my car in front of all the people that bullied me. You know what I'm saying? Or talked about me. I wasn't oppressed, but I did get bullied. Sixth grade, seventh grade, eighth grade. It messed up my self-esteem for a little while, but I got over that. That was always one of my little dreams, was to pull up to high school in my Nissan GTR. Especially after graduation, just be there. It was one of those things, and I don't desire that anymore. Would I would have loved to do that? Absolutely. But it just hits a lot harder for me now that I got to see everything, and I've been doubted before and things like that, and now I'm achieving everything that I want. And I have classmates reaching out, like, "Oh, bro, like this is cool." And it's just one of those things, man. It's just important to stay true to who you are, and be that, and understand that things will happen when they need to. If you're doing something and you stop and you quit and then you start again and you stop and you quit and then you start again, you're probably not going to get the results because the universe is saying you're not worthy yet. You're not ready yet. You can't handle it yet. And that was one of those things I had to realize. Like, yeah, I was rushing the process, but I wasn't ready. Like, I don't think it was smart for me to have a Nissan GTR in high school. I don't think I would have been able to handle that. And I'm a pretty level-headed dude, but I wasn't ready for that. I wasn't ready for that. It was a lot more that I had to go through, you know. And I guess the last thing I want to speak on, because one of the things that changed my life, and I hate it took this long to get to this point. I rambled a little bit, but relationships, man. I want you to know that most relationships are meant to end. As bitter as that sounds, as negative as that sounds, it's not though. Most relationships in our life, and I'm not just talking about intimate, I'm talking about friendships too. Most of them are meant to end because we learn the most when friendships and relationships end. And it's like, damn, I set my expectations way too high on that person. Don't set expectations too high for people. Allow people to be who they are. If someone tells you, oh, I'm the most loyal and I do this and I do that, why should you believe them? They haven't proved that yet. But you don't have to put up this wall and resist the information. It's like, all right, you say you're loyal. We'll see. And then when that loyalty gets tested and they fail, you not upset. But when you sit here and, oh, this person is so special and they're everything and they could never do anything wrong, the moment they do something wrong, it hurts you. But like I said, I'm telling you, most relationships are meant to end because you have a lot of lessons to learn. Now, it's a beautiful thing when you get with a person or you're around a person that can teach you a lot and y'all can learn a lot together and still stay grounded with each other or still stay in contact with each other. But it's okay. You know what I'm saying? It hurts because you do invest a lot of yourself into people. But the best way to get out of that pain from investing a lot into people is investing more into yourself, focusing on yourself. You don't need somebody all the time. And sometimes we do. Sometimes we go through things and it's good to heal on our own. And sometimes we decide that we want to heal with somebody. But there's risk to both. But you have to be willing to see that and you have to be willing to bear those risks. But it's all about you, man. Relationships can hurt you and they can help you, but in the end of the day, it's knowledge to be learned from it all. And yeah, just be around people that value you and make you feel welcome. And your time is coming, bro, for whatever it is, whether it's a relationship, a job, a career, a lifestyle. Your time is coming, but you have to make sure you're making the decisions to, give time the opportunity to come. So that's just what it is, man. I hope this was insightful for you. Good luck in all your endeavors. If you're still in school, you probably just got out of school. So summer is here. Have fun. But I'm telling you, you'll have a lot more fun if you get that job and you start saving that money and you find a nice, healthy work balance to where you're working and saving your money. And then you go have your little fun. Because at the end of the summer, when you go back to school, you're going to have bread and you're going to walk differently. You're going to feel differently. I want you to keep that composure and maintain the same. But, bro, if I would have started working as soon as possible, I would have had over $50,000 saved up before I left school. And I would have probably blew up on YouTube or anything by then, too. You know what I'm saying? So just putting that into perspective, put those eggs in your basket early and you are going to be okay. And if you just graduated, like I said, welcome to the real world. Good luck and go be what you want to be. But make sure you're taking care of what you need to take care of and make sure you're doing the things that are necessary to get there. Be delusional. You're going to seem crazy. People going to laugh at you at first. They're not going to believe you at first. But when you do the right things and you keep doing them, things going to turn out the way you want. But you just got to have that courage to proceed and the patience to let things happen. While also making things happen. Not just letting life happen around you, but controlling it, but not forcing it. I love you. You take care of yourself, and good luck.